Hi, boys and girls. Mrs. Hoogerhide and I really miss you, and we wish we could be in school together. I hope you're having a great time with your families and all your siblings, but we really miss you. Um, this last week, we were supposed to have some fun activities with ducks and bunnies, so I thought I would share a book with you today and do a science experiment that maybe you could do after you watch it, because it only has a few things to do. So the book I'm going to read to you today is Ducks Don't Get Wet. Now that's kind of a funny title, but we're going to see what they mean by that. And you know how sometimes we talk about if a book is real or make-believe? Well, this book has a lot of things in it that are real. The pictures are drawn, but it has things that are real in it. So we're going to read that, okay? So ducks don't get wet. And I got to put my glasses on here. There we go. Ducks are water birds. All day long they go in and out of the water, in and out and in and out. No matter how many times they go into the water, ducks don't get wet. They are waterproof. Every duck is waterproof because it has an oil gland near its tail. And with its broad bill, the duck strokes this oil gland, then it smears oil all over its feathers. This is called preening. Ducks spend hours preening themselves. That is how they keep their feathers covered with oil. Their feathers do not get wet because oil and water do not mix. Now we got to remember that for our experiment, okay? Ducks spend most of their time in the water. They splash around in puddles and ponds and swamps and the shallow streams. You can see ducks tipping their heads under the water and tipping their tails up in the air. When the ducks dabble in the water this way, they are searching for food. Their webbed feet paddle fast as they tug water weeds with their broad bills. Pintail ducks and mallards search through the water for pond grass and wild rice for seeds and insects. Blue winged teals dip for wild rice, insects, and snails. These ducks waddle in and out of the shallow water. They shovel up mud and strain it for seeds and tiny water plants. They scoop up water and strain it for insects and shrimp. Wood ducks look for water plants and they eat wild rice, water lily seeds, acorns, and insects. Other ducks are really good divers. Sometimes they can dive down 100 feet. This is as deep as a 10-story building is high, and they can swim underwater for 300 feet, the length of a block. When they come up for air, they are dry. Now, some of these fish dive for shellfish and water plants, and some of them dive for insects and fish. And these over here can catch and hold on to a slippery fish. They're diving way down there. Ducks usually find their food in the water or along the shores of lakes and ponds. When the weather gets cold, the rivers and marshes, ponds and lakes are covered with ice. When the water freezes, crabs and crayfish and duckweeds and pondweeds and all the fish are beneath the ice. Ducks cannot reach this good food. That's when they fly south. They fly southward to open water where they can find food. Southward fly the ducks 30 to 70 miles an hour, depending on the wind. That's as fast as a car. Southward to open water and good duck food fly the ducks. They may fly through sunshine or storm clouds. They might fly in strong winds and light showers, and the raindrops will roll right off their backs. If they fly over your house, you may be sure you will see them again next fall. Ducks travel the same route or fly year after year. Sometimes they fly in a V formation. See right there? The leader flies at the point of the V and the other ducks fan out behind. When the ducks fly low, you may be able to see them clearly. You may be able to hear the hiss and whistle of the wind as it slips off their oil feathers. You may be able to hear the thumping of their wings. But when the ducks fly very high, you will not be able to hear them or see a single duck clearly. You will know that the ducks are passing overhead only when you see a V in the sky that looks like a faint wisp of smoke. You will know the ducks are flying southward for the winter. When spring comes, the ducks will return and they will fly north to dabble and dive in the rivers and lakes and the ponds and marshes. And they will fly back to open water and good duck food. And they will fly back north through strong winds and spring rains. And they will always be dry because ducks don't get wet. Now, one of your favorite things to do at preschool, I know, is a science experiment. So we're going to do that right now. Now, I have a jar here, and this was just a glass jar that I had spaghetti sauce in. And we're going to pour just plain water in our jar. And I'm going to put a little bit of food coloring in here, just so you can see the water. And it's going to turn blue. And we'll watch that turn blue for 1 second there. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put oil in here. Okay? This is just vegetable oil that your mom uses for cooking. And we're going to pour that inside the jar. Okay? Now, I want you to watch. Because there's bubbles. And do you see how the oil is sitting right on top there of there? Now, I'm going to put this lid on, and it's got to fit tight, okay? I'm going to shake my jar until it's all blue. Now, remember, we're trying to find out if water and oil mix, and we're going to watch this, okay? Now, let's shake it again here. It's all blue, but we're going to see what happens, okay? And maybe you could count, and maybe when you're doing this experiment, you could count how long it takes for this to separate. Now, I see it getting a little more yellow near the top. And it's a little bit darker. Now remember, the oil was yellow and the water is blue. See the bubbles separating? So maybe we could count while you're watching. It's getting more yellow. It's getting more yellow. There's still some water there that's going away. Okay, now do you see in my jar? The oil is up here and the water's down here. That's because oil and water don't mix. And that's how the ducks stay waterproof, because they have oil on them. So maybe you would like to do this experiment at home. So all you need is a jar and water and oil to do your experiment. Okay? Well, I hope you're all having a great time at home, and I hope we get to see you really, really soon.